thoughts. I hoped I could have gone before the two students did. I think that was a perfect wrap-up. Before I zoom in to where we are at today, I'm going to kind of go out a little bit broad and talk about the purpose of education. Now, the purpose of education has been discussed for centuries. Philosophers have talked about it, and in more recent modern times, it's been debated again and again. And the purpose of education, though, has always been to everyone, in essence, the same, and that is to give the young the things they need in order to develop in an orderly, sequential way into members of society. So, what does that mean exactly? Martin Luther King Jr., he wrote an essay about the purpose of education. In that essay, he said the function of education is to teach one to think intensively and to think critically. But he also added another dimension, morality. He said that if we don't have morals, then it doesn't matter how educated we are. And he posted, is someone who thinks that I'm inferior because of the color of my skin really an intelligent or a smart person? And to carry that on, and a few years later, the main purpose of the American school is to provide for the fullest possible development of each learner for living morally, creatively, and productively in a democratic society. So again, you have that moral aspect in there. I've always heard people say, you know, when a criminal gets arrested on Wall Street and they've done some great Ponzi scheme or they've built millions of dollars, and people say, what a smart guy. And I think if he was smart, he wouldn't have been in jail. So there's more to education than just being able to do things and just having skills. It's putting those skills into actions, it's applying them in ways that help society to be productive. And so, as we look at those different things that education is, and then we start to zoom in to where we are right now, where we're sitting in a skills center, just that the title of it is to teach skills. Now, skills in and of themselves don't constitute an education. They don't do anything, but it's the application of them. And I can't see the board behind me, but if you've been paying attention to it, the students here are learning specific skills, but then they're also learning how to apply them into ways that help to benefit our society. I brought with me a visual aid. This is one of the original iPhones from 2007. This is a classic. It really is. It's heavier, it's slower, it uses more battery power than the new one, right? So this is like the 1957 car, and this is the new one, right? And outside in front of us here, if you came in and saw the BMW there, that's not your daddy's Oldsmobile either. And so the kind of skills and things that students are learning today are completely different than when I went to school. In fact, when this project was being dreamed about, back in the 80s, and then also when it first went into its steps of implementation, designing things, this phone hadn't even been invented. And that was only 7 years ago. Now, some of the things that they're teaching here at this school are DigiPen. If you're not familiar with DigiPen, it's an academy of teaching people how to develop applications, develop video games. Oh, here we go with the kids and their video games again. But think about this. In 2008, there was 800 applications or apps for the iPhone. A year later, there was 65,000. Today, there's over 1.2 million. And all of those are essentially the same technology that you use to make a video game. And so this is something that's really growing and changing the industry. We heard earlier about the data centers in Quincy. Those weren't there in 2005 either. And the reason why they're there is because we all carry one of these around in our pockets. And so while the students today are continuing to learn things that spark their creativity, their morality, help them to be good citizens, they're also learning the skills that they need to put all that stuff into use into the new world that we live in. Composites, engineering, welding, those are the kind of things that are being taught here. So things that are going to help them to move not just themselves, but this community and our nation as a whole into the future. And that's really what it is that we're sitting here today celebrating. The first time ever in Central Washington now, we have a chance for all of those things to come together. You can see from the slides behind me, these pictures I think say more than I could say for how that collaboration is coming together. People doing web design. Web design in its own doesn't do anything, but you put it behind the product and the entrepreneurship. And all of these different pieces that these students are learning can come together and create something that's far greater than the whole. And I think that's what the community has done as well, as it's dreamed and visioned this for decades. And so my hat's off to the community, my hat's off to the students and the staff. You have a great facility here, and I think I'm the only thing between us and tours and lunch, so thank you.